Welcome everyone to EIPIP meeting number 122. This is issue number 1777 on Ethereum/PM GitHub repository. So on agenda, we have got most of usual items for call for inputs, editor discussions, and anything in specific that people would like to discuss. We generally try to collect some community feedback and update and share it with the community. We will take a look at the EIPs insight, means the statistics of present proposals on different repositories. To get started, I want to kind of explain what this meeting is all about and um, why do we have these meetings. So EIPIP meetings are for Ethereum improvement proposals improvement process. We organize this meeting once a month in order to have all the editors in one place and discuss the current process as well as any suggestion that comes up from the community. We can consider it, we can discuss it, and if needed, we can make changes to present process with the help of incoming PRs, like anyone making suggestion. If the suggestion is accepted by editors or the editors think that it is perhaps a good suggestion, we can perhaps include it and change our process. We appreciate the individual to create a PR, and those PRs are added here for discussion. We are still waiting for more editors to join, but while they join, we can perhaps go through some of the agenda items that we can discuss. And yeah, obviously, I hope it helps people to understand why we are here. The first section is call for input. I will wait for Sam to join in. Yeah.
Sam just joined, yeah.
Oh, I'm sorry. Sorry, my screen was shared, so I could not see you in Sam. Thank you for joining. So when we have Sam, perhaps we can go ahead with the agenda as mentioned in the list. Sam, over to you to maybe talk about call for input. Do you want me to stop sharing and you want to share your screen? Either way is fine.
Doesn't matter to me. I'm just getting to the page here.
Okay.
December 16th. No, wait, we're the 17th.
Yeah. And Sam, before you go ahead and get started with this, I want to apologize for this tiny error that I made on my end. Like I closed this issue for call for input 394, but then realized that it should be added as a decision by keeper, so reopened it. Perhaps you can take a look.
Sure. Yeah, I think that's fine.
Yeah, please take it from here.
Yeah, so I agree. I think nobody objected to that, so we can close that as affirmed or whatever the term we use is. Updating links to Ethereum.org. Oh, yeah, okay. Okay, so we have 3 against and 1 in favor. I think we should probably talk about that one a little bit more. I didn't notice is Kajinder on the call today, or no, it's just us. Okay.
I'm sorry, Sam, if you could let me know the issue number, I can perhaps open and that would be easier.
That's the one. You're on it, 395.
Perfect.
Yeah. So, yeah, I guess we have at least 2 editors here, so we can talk about this. How do you feel about this one?
Yes. So okay. So just for the record, I just got added as an editor, and this is actually the first time I'm actually looking at these call for inputs. So Sam, maybe you can quickly share what this is about, because I'm reading it. It's about dead links to the old Ethereum wiki replaced with live links, and you are against this change. So maybe you can explain.
Sure. So there's a final proposal, 1186. I believe it's, or I guess it's stagnant. It's not actually final. So I guess we could edit this one. But there are links to the GitHub wiki, which no longer works, and somebody has opened a pull request to point it to the live Ethereum website. And this goes against our established link policy because the Ethereum website is not one of our approved external resources. Presumably because it doesn't support like versions, so you can't link to like there's no guarantee that the link won't change in the future. So I'm against making this change because if we update it to point to this new URL and that URL goes dead again, then we have to update the link again. And I think we'd like to avoid having to update final EIPs over and over again. So I would prefer that we not update this to point to the Ethereum website and we find some other way to reference this information. But that's just my opinion.
Yeah. Okay. Maybe then yeah. To add on that, I think that's like my first minute thoughts on this. That I agree with your disagreement. I would think that I would also vote against this because if these links are not part of the rules which we have established, so these are not part of, I think this would be part of the approved links in EIP 1, then if we would want to merge this PR, then we should first update EIP 1, and then we should, then we are able to merge this one, this PR, so to update these URLs. But I think, like as a side quest or side task, that we should then also think about, like how would this work? Because if you could point to like an archived version of these URLs, that would be nice to maybe think about.
Agreed. Yeah. I don't think anybody's brought this up before, but maybe we could allow links to archive.org.
Yeah, yes. But then we would, of course, need to verify that this points to the correct version of it. So that would be like, we will check the latest change to this ERP, that like the commit date, I would say. And then check if we have like an archived version around that date. So we know that we are pointing to the correct version. But this would be some line of thought, I would say, to think about.
Yeah, that makes sense. Would you like to leave a comment on the issue to that effect, or would you like me to write that up?
Yes, I will write a comment on the. I will I will vote against, and I will also explain why and what we should do about this, also for the future. Yeah, sounds good. Sounds good.
Then we have the Unicode technical standard links. We have 2 yeses, so.
Yes, maybe you can also quickly introduce this one. I think this is adding like an URL to the Unicode technical standards, and I see you are in favor. So, yeah.
Yeah, and the deadline has already passed, but Joachim, if you would want to add your comment in favor or against, that would be helpful for Sam to make a decision and close the call for input for that.
Yeah, I would also think that I would approve this, so I will also leave a comment here. Yeah, thanks.
Awesome, thank you.
Thank you, Sam. And next we move on to editor's discussions topic. And the first one here is about the call for input itself. Do we want to move this call for input issues to Ethereum/PM GitHub repositories for increased visibility? I understand from today's discussion, like Joachim was seeing it for the first time despite he being added as an editor, because not many people go to that GitHub repo anymore. And we are more frequent visitor to Ethereum/PM GitHub repositories.
I think if we're going to move it, we should probably move it into the EIPs repository itself. I don't know how we would do that, like technically, but it would be nice to have it, versioned and stored alongside the EIPs.
Yeah, that makes sense. We can perhaps move it to EIP's repo as well. But sometimes we have questions with respect to ERC's repo. In that case, should we move it to ERC's issue? Or I proposed PM because PM will address maybe both sides, like one place, but here we can have it divided, whatever.
Yeah, I'm not sure.
I mean, we can continue having it on that as one as well. But yeah, that was general proposal. I wonder, Joachim, if you have any thoughts and suggestions around it?
Yeah, maybe the first thing I want to add here, like if we would want to move this to Ethereum PM, then maybe we should change the name of call for input, because you would abbreviate it as CFI, and this is also part of the EIP networking process. So that would translate to considered for inclusion. So that might lead, considered for inclusion. That might lead to some confusion, I would say. So that is maybe not, I don't know. Then we should maybe think of like a new name for this.
That's a good point.
Yeah,
Yes.
so it's call for input, like when we add it in the issue, it will show up something like this call for input. And the one CFI we use for upgrade process is consider for inclusion. So the expansion is definitely different, and we may not be using acronym here, just to clarify it, if that's helpful.
Yeah, I would be somewhat not really scared, but somewhat afraid that people will maybe abbreviate it. But that might like be an ungrounded thought. So let's just keep it as call for input. And if people start to abbreviate it, then we should say, okay, let's not do that because it's confusing. I think for increased visibility, and Sam is also right about let's not bring this up as like a point. That's a good point. Yes, I think for increased visibility, this is like a good idea, and maybe also to state a little bit. Well, maybe like the question is, why have I not looked at these call for inputs before? I would say that because I said, I haven't looked at these because I'm not an editor. Well, that is maybe like the wrong line of thought, because this is, of course, the governance process, and everyone should, I think, at least have an input on this. So I think the visibility of this should indeed be increased. And how to do that? I would not really know how we should do that, but to increase the visibility, that should really be something what we should try to do. And how, I would not know, but we should definitely increase this visibility. Yeah.
I mean, maybe we could add a banner to the actual EIP's website. I'm not sure.
That's an interesting suggestion. We can do that. Maybe we have to look into how it is possible, but that's another good idea. And in that case, even if it lives in the EIPIP repository, that should not be a problem, because people are getting reference link right from there.
Yeah.
Okay, we should think about it a little bit more. And I don't know, would you want to get a call for input to collect inputs about this particular idea? And maybe we can, we don't have to make a decision right over there. It would be just collecting ideas. Where do people think is the best place to have this?
Yeah, that works for me.
Yeah, I think that sounds good. So that's a call for inputs, right?
Yeah, right. All right. Okay, let's leave it right there, and we will have a call for input to collect input from other editors as well. Moving ahead, the next big thing in my mind was the increasing number of EIPs and ERCs repositories. So, no, these are the reviews. Okay. What are this inside this one? Yeah, right. So I was taking a look at the repository. This is for EIP repositories, and as we can see, the trend is like increasing. It's increasing too much. We do have around 324 open PRs on EIP GitHub repositories, and somewhere around 150 in the ERC GitHub repositories. I was wondering if editors can think of an appropriate way to maybe manage this increased number of PRs. One thing I want to mention, which was also identified during one of the office hour with Gajendra Singh, that was the ability to close or force merge PRs. Right now, I believe it is limited to only a few editors. Do we think that we can grant more editors this permission so they be able to force merge and we don't require two editors to review same proposal?
Yeah, I think we can.
Can we maybe to help a little bit on so we have like a lot of PRs open, and the reason what's the reason for this? Because I know that some PRs if you are not an author of an EIP or you are not an author of the EIP you are editing, then if you propose a change, then the EIP author has to approve this. And I believe that, that's speculation, but I believe that some of these PRs are open because these are not getting approved by these authors. And I'm not sure if it is then a good idea that we as EIP editors would force merge these changes. But maybe like as a step back, why are there so many open PRs? Like what's the reason for this? Because I also hear that for some of these we need two EIP editors to approve them. And what would be the rule or the reason for this?
There's a set of rules in the EIP review bot that determines when we need to have multiple editors. So editing final and stagnant EIPs, I think, need more than one editor. There's a few other, like editing the website needs more than one. We set these up like years ago, and it was basically for things that we thought would be contentious. They need more than one editor. But I think we've kind of dealt with most of our decision-making problems. So I think we can probably bring them down to just one editor. But that would probably need I'd probably want to do a call for input before making that change.
I am not sure if I'm 100% confident about this thing. So, first I would like to respond to Joachim. So, what I meant by it requires two editors' attention because one editor does not have the permission to either force merge it, and even if he reviewed the proposal, he will have to leave it open, just adding another editor to take a look and force merge. So that was my point when I said that two editors may need to review one proposal. Now, the second part of it, that there are some PRs which requires two editors. There are certain conditions, as Sam mentioned. One condition was like if it is related to any like very important proposal, for example, EIP1. In that case, we would want to have it reviewed by more than one editor, and at that I believe still makes sense to get it done. But one point that I think was discussed, and perhaps it's my mistake that I have not documented it somewhere. When a PR is waiting for author's approval, then in that case, we see that if that PR is for an EIP which is already in the finalized status or is in the active status. So if it is an active status, that means it is not finalized, then we wait for the author to make the decision whether you want this PR to accept it or not. But if the PR is for a final EIP, then this decision falls on editors. Now, I will add all such PRs for editors review here. As you can see that I have added it already, that whether editor want to merge it or not, even if it is not authorized by the author. Maybe author has long gone because the proposal is finalized now. In that case, if editors agree that the PR is reasonable and it can be merged, then we do merge those PRs despite we do not get the permission from the author. And there was another idea that was floated, and I believe we need to document it somewhere as well. Like if editors agree, even for the present proposal, they find it like very trivial change and that can be merged, then we will wait for that PR for next 2 or 4 weeks just to make sure that we get input from author. And if we don't get, because editors agreed, we can still move it, like we can still merge it. So yes, we are working in that direction to merge most of the PR, at least make a decision, merge or close. I hope that answer.
Yes, I think this makes sense. But then on the question on, or like the agenda point, or should we grant more editors to need to force merge when appropriate? I think, or well, that would be my first thought, is that it actually makes a lot of sense that 2 editors need to look at this, because like it's also like the point of like everyone makes mistakes, so you can also review a PR or like not reviewing, but like make the decision. Okay, I should force merge this, but I think it will be very good for the process itself that someone else, meaning like another editor, also takes a look at this, so that we don't, well, accidentally start to merge like things which should not be merged. And I think for also because we are seeing like a lot of, well, an increase of the open PRs for the EIPs. I think what I will do is try to, well, going over all of them, it will be like a lot of work, but to also get like a feeling why we have so many PRs open, and to get like an idea like what like the root cause of this, or not the root cause, but what like how to categorize these and how to, yeah, well, how to solve this this problem. Like if we need something in the process, or we need yeah, we need to take a look like what's going on, why we have so many PRs open. Yeah.
Right. So quickly responding to your this force merge situation, I do agree to your concept of when we are having another pair of eyes, it definitely helps us prevent making any mistake. But this particular situation that I'm talking about here is force merged because of some bot error. Like sometimes if a PR is made by the initial author of the proposal, then also it is not getting merged, and in that case editor um, can force merge it. So this is the particular situation, but I would agree to your idea as well. I wonder, Sam, if you have anything to add on it.
I don't think there's anything technical preventing us from adding more people to the force merge group. I just need to talk to the DevOps people. Should be easy enough.
Yeah, I think that would be great because and that will also distribute some of your burden. Like, you don't have to go for um, every PR, which is not being able to merge. Thank you
Yeah.
so much for taking
Yeah,
care of that.
yeah. To chime in on your point, Pooja, of like that the bot has an error. Like if it is obvious, then I think that force merging it is fine. That sounds yeah, like a good idea to me. And I would also think that in that case, yeah, I'm not sure, but I think that maybe like one editor, like if it is super obvious that it should be merged, then I think like one editor should just force merge it. Maybe that also works like this already, but that will be fine, I think. Yeah.
Awesome. So maybe we can revisit this in the next meeting. Hopefully, we get a response from DevOps team. Maybe Sam, if you would like to take the initiative on this one and have a word with the team.
Sure. Who do we want to add?
Maybe Yocham and Gajender.
Sure.
Because I have noticed Gajender has flagged multiple PRs, which he finds is okay, but he always tags you that Sam, please take a look, may require a force merge. And that way I have to just move his list of PRs to your office hour meeting in order to like you get it merged. Cool. With that, we can perhaps move on to the next item, which is topics suggested by Joachim. Joachim has added a couple of points for discussion here today. Maybe I can just let him talk about it and we can take it from there.
Yeah, so the comment here is about that currently on the EIP's website, we have the EIPs and we know the status of these EIPs, but it is some like we have these meta EIPs, which are about the hard forks. So you can see which hard fork has which EIPs. But in some cases, it is not really clear. So if an EIP, if it is a core EIP and if it is in final, then it is not clear what fork this is part of. And I think it will be very helpful to add this to the EIP. Like, okay, this was part of this specific fork.
Yeah, I think we have brought this thing earlier. I believe there was a proposal to have it added as a part of preamble, but that could not get approved for some reasons. But I think I received this feedback from another contributor. He proposed that perhaps we can have it added here.
Yeah.
Yeah, I understand this is like again coming from preamble. Do we have a way to add it here without adding it to preamble?
Yeah, so what we can do is, and this would require some work in Jekyll or eventually work in EIPs next generation, whatever you want to call it. And you would have to look at all of the hard fork metas and then like build an index and then add that information back into the EIPs when they're rendering. That isn't impossible. It would just need a few minutes of coding work.
Maybe I can suggest whoever wants to take this task to take a look at this Ethereum network upgrade timeline. Here we can, with exporting this data, we can get all the EIPs, those were part of particular upgrade. So this is one way to simplify the life here. But yes, yeah, taking a look at meta EIP is also a
Yeah,
way
so
to get there.
the way it would the way it would probably work, well, sorry, to keep it permissionless, it would just look at any fork meta and add that information to the EIP itself. So like if some random person came along and made a fork meta, that would also appear. But that's fine, I think. You can just ignore them.
Yes.
Yes, about like creating these random meta EIPs. I think this is actually a good question, because from the editorial part, would we merge this or not?
We would merge it.
Right. Yeah, I see. Yeah. Okay. So that will then get added. And maybe like as a second question, because the specific EIP which I mentioned in that comment, so it's 684. That EIP is final, but it is actually not part yet of this. Well, it's not part of this EIP's insight/upgrade process. So this raises the question like a little bit like, what is like a final EIP? Because is this part of the fork? Is this part of a fork or not? I think that's like an interesting question. And this specific EIP, it's a retroactively one. So this is like a case which can't really be part. Well, it is part of the consensus. But should we then add it to like the frontier fork or not? Like, yeah, what is like a final EIP? Is this part of a fork or not? Yeah.
I would say it's part of the fork where the code was added to clients to prevent it. I think that would make the most consistent sense, because then you wouldn't have to go back and edit old EIPs. And as to your question of what final means, it just means that the document can no longer be edited. We have like a convention of marking them as final once they're deployed on a network, but there's nothing stopping someone from marking them as final beforehand or, yeah.
Okay, yeah, okay. So then, yeah, I think that because we were just talking like also about this preamble. I'm not sure, is this preamble like part of the markdown file or not?
Yeah.
And yeah, okay. So then, if we would move something to final, and if it will be part of a fork, then we should require this in the preamble, I think. If that makes sense.
Yeah, I believe that was the initial proposal. To we can have an optional field in the preamble, perhaps not completely following the network upgrade stages, but we can just have an upgrade section as preamble. I believe this team has kind of implemented it. If we take a look here, so here it is saying that it is Fusaka SFI. I guess that was the proposal. So we say, for example, we don't include this inclusion stage. We can just include the upgrade name and include it Fusaka here if that was part of Fusaka. So we don't have to go back to the meta EIP of Fusaka to identify that 7951 was a part of Fusaka upgrade. Um, is that the correct reading of what the ask is here, Joachim?
Yes, I think so. Yeah.
So we can't add it to the EIP itself. I mean, we could, but it would be weird. So, okay, the person who's assembling the EIPs of a hard fork is not necessarily an author of that EIP. So, for example, if Tim is coming along and assembling the Glamsterdam meta EIP or assembling the Glamsterdam fork, he's not an author on all of the EIPs that are going into Glamsterdam. So he would have to go and make a pull request against each of those EIPs. The author of that EIP would have to approve it or not. And that's not exactly the governance pattern. The governance pattern is more like Tim or whoever's making the fork gets to pick what to include in that fork. And they don't need the permission of the authors to make that choice. So it's kind of like they're separate like concerns. So then you also have the problem of if it's an author controlled field, then anybody can just claim that their EIP is in a particular hard fork, and then it falls on editors to decide whether or not that's accurate. And that's kind of a subjective call that I'd prefer editors not have to make. So the way we have it now, where you have a meta EIP, and anybody can make a meta EIP and can list whatever technical EIPs they want to include, that's a completely permissionless and objective system for editors. We don't need to participate in governance for that to work. And I think we want to keep that kind of pattern working.
Yes, I get your point. I also agree with this. So maybe to add to this, so we have like this EIP now, which is the network upgrade inclusion stages. So that's 7723. So this is basically how we currently do these forks.
Yep.
And I think for like the governance process, you are right. So this was something which we should essentially move to basically like this EIP or some other EIP, and to not get into the way to say of like this process. Yeah, I agree with you. So we okay, good point. Yeah.
I may have a suggestion here that might help us without getting into too much of trouble. So, the upgrade field that we are talking about, if we have that field as an optional field as a part of preamble in EIP template, where we can use it when we are moving any of these proposals, for example, not this one, for example, again, not this one, sorry, this is also a bad example. Let me try to take a look if I have a better example. Yes, this is the one. So this 7825 proposal, it went into Fusaka upgrade. Now it is like listed as a last call. So when a proposal is moved to last call, we add this field last call deadline. Okay. So when authors are making a status change right here after the proposal is merged in the upgrade, they will remove this last call deadline, and at this point they can include the field upgrade with the upgrade name listed here before moving it to the final. And at that point of time, it may not be very difficult for anyone to like figure it out if that is the part of the upgrade or not. So in that case, the liability on editor will be to ensure that this upgrade field is only filled when the proposal is moving in the final status. And that too, we can definitely let author know that please refer meta EIP whenever you are making the changes for the proposal to move into the final status. Does this anyway help ease the burden of editor as well as give us the flexibility to have the upgrade name listed right over here? So we will have final, standard track core, and the upgrade name right over here.
So I think that would work. I don't see how it's better than just parsing the meta EIPs though. Like, I think that is the most correct solution. But yeah, if we only do it when it goes to final, I think that would also be acceptable. I can't see a case where an EIP. Okay, I guess technically, if there's like a chain split and then both chains want to use EIPs as their like proposal thing, it could get a little messy. But that's such a corner case. I don't think it matters. So yeah, I don't see a technical reason why that wouldn't work as well.
Yeah, and the reason why I would advocate for that, because that is the final status and that can be followed. However, I do understand why we received this request. So, this request and this suggestion that was shared was from a testing team developer, and he mentioned that because he was actively working on multiple upgrades. Right now, we are preparing for Amsterdam as well as we are also looking for H plus Bogota upgrade. So now when he's referring to EIPs, he wants to keep this thing in on top of his head, like I'm working on this upgrade right now, not on this one. And if he has to go back and check the upgrade in the meta EIP, it's kind of like troublesome. I'm not sure if we would be in a position to help to that status, but I think perhaps we can work it when proposal are moving into final status. At least we can provide some references.
Yeah, I think what we should do here is to write down maybe this proposal to like for these well added rules or like the intention of these to get also some more call for input, I would say. Yeah. But yes, I think like from especially from like well the comments you mentioned, like this pain point, it's just really nice that if you have an EIP that you can directly see what fork it was in. That would be like a good addition, because you now need to go first read all the meta EIPs and then figure out, okay, what EIP what fork was this EIP in. Yeah.
Very well. I'm open to maybe put together a document in which we can propose this, like we want to have a field upgrade added to EIP preamble and the conditions when this optional field can be activated and the responsibilities as well. Maybe we can first take this step and then we will start looking into the options which are there in order to help more testing team. I guess there were other proposals as well that were in progress in order to help them know which EIP is for which upgrade. So maybe we can lean on them.
Yep, sounds good. Sounds good.
I believe there are some more points that you would want it to be discussed today.
Well, I think that's like my second comment, which you just added to the end of the this point. Can I do this, or do we want to? Oh wait,
Yes,
yeah,
please go ahead. Yeah.
So okay, so the point there is that I think on GitHub, if you like, so I just got added as an editor. And I previously reviewed these EIPs from more technical perspective. And as I noted in that comment is, I think that if you would comment or review an EIP on GitHub, and keeping in mind like the editorial and the reviewing process in mind, I think that there are like three different signals which a review can give. So as an editor, if I would now approve an EIP, that means because of, well, like if there's a new EIP, then an EIP editor has to approve it. You have to assign a number, you have to approve it in order for it to get merged. So that would signal that I, as an editor, would approve this EIP. But there is also like, if I would review this from more like a technical standpoint, then if I would approve it, then it is more from the technical side. And what we also see on GitHub is that some EIPs, like you see there's an EIP editor, and they contact some people on Discord, like, okay, can you approve this EIP to just signal that you support this EIP in the sense of that you want to get it into a fork. So I think that is 3 different signals, and my question is then, and that's maybe especially for Sam for input on this, if it makes sense to use a different account for the editorial part to really signal, okay, this is the editorial review and the technical review side of this, so that I use 2 GitHub accounts for this, if that makes any sense or not. And also about these 3 signals, that the GitHub review can have 3 signals: editorial part, reviewing part, and the support in a fork part.
This is a really good point. So I think if you end up giving a lot of technical reviews, then yeah, it probably makes sense to have a separate GitHub account for it. Personally, I just give like technical reviews on Ethereum magicians, but I'm not really deeply involved enough to actually have like a go or no go kind of like approval. We could change it so that editorial reviews are like require a special comment or like a special message in the review, or vice versa. We could like change it so that a technical review, you can put a comment and the bot will ignore it. I guess we can think about this more and whatever works best for you.
Yeah, just also to chime in on your part about giving like this feedback on the Ethereum magicians, like just also for the record, like I completely agree, like for the history of these comments, that these reviews should go on magicians, except I would say at the part when an EIP gets introduced as draft, then it could make sense a lot of as an editorial point of view, it could follow the rules perfectly. But then from like a technical point of view, like some things will just not make sense. So I would not feel comfortable to, like if I see some obvious errors in the EIP, like some technical errors, I would not feel very comfortable to approve it both as an editor and also for the review part. And that's why I also review these EIPs on GitHub to like directly give feedback on these, I would say like in a pre-draft status of this EIP, like, okay, this does not make sense and it maybe should be improved before we can merge it. So that's like the first feedback loop. For your idea of like the technical reviews, like as a comment, I think that we should not burden the current editors to have like a specific approval, like, okay, editor says okay. So that would then maybe like for a technical review, like, okay, bot ignore this review. I think that will make sense. Or if that's even easier for the also for the overview, to maybe just create like a second account for the editorial part. Yeah.
Okay. So what's the like takeaway from this?
I think what I will do, and this is maybe a little bit awkward because I think the change to EIP1 got merged also with, I think, the rights to the bot, is that I will create a new GitHub account for the EIP editor, use that account for the editorial part, and also use that account to propose like this change to EIP1, and for the bots, that I will specifically use that account for the edits. I think that's would be the most visible and logical change. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. So just make a pull request with your updated account, and we can make that change.
Cool.
I think that was the last point, Joachim, or do you have?
Yes, those were my points. Yeah.
Thank you so much for adding them, and I think that's pretty much all we can cover today. We do have 5 minutes left. Maybe we can take the next point. If we can finish it up in next 5 minutes or so, then it's very well. The next point is restructure and rename EIPIP meeting. This is based on my discussion with Joachim and some of the other developers at DevConnect. We were discussing how we can make it more inclusive. We don't want to have some decisions being taken at certain events or in a certain Telegram group. We can make it even more public and everybody get along with the decision, and we can share this information with community how to follow along. I understand there is now Ethereum governance team at the Ethereum Foundation, and there are certain process change. We do have forecast website where people can go and look at the EIPs which are considered for upgrades and things like that. So I was wondering if we can rename EIP IP with ACDG like ACD governance, and we can include we can extend our invite to Ethereum governance team, client devs alongside EIP editors. This could be once a month meeting where they can talk about the changes those are there in the process, because I'm sure that there are so many client devs who sometimes still struggle to understand what's going on, why I am at CFI, why I'm at PFI, and having all this discussion on all core dev takes a lot of the core devs time, which I believe could be moved to the governance call so they can discuss decisions, not the process right over there. Yeah, that was my thought. I wonder what people think here.
I definitely think we can extend the invitation. I don't think that hurts. I haven't really thought about it deeply, so I'm not sure about the rest of it. Honestly, I'm just not sure if devs care that much about us, really.
Maybe to chime in on this, and also maybe my line of thought. So we currently have this this network upgrade inclusion stage EIP, and I think so. This is maybe like part of like what are we doing here? So what we really want to do is we want to improve the process itself, and I think like the EIP 7723. So this is the network upgrade inclusion stage. So this explains what is considered for inclusion, proposed for inclusion, denied for inclusion, those things. I think though this part of the process, it should be discussed not on ACD E and ACDC, but like how can we like improve this forking process? I think this would maybe like be part of the governance process, and I think that if we would start to do that here and also call it like I think ACDG would be like a very good name for this. This is like really talking and discussing the process itself and leaving the decisions to the ACDE and the ACDC calls, and the governance, so like this process itself, to like a separate call. I think that will make like a really good process, and also like to collect, okay, the confusion, like why is something CFI, why is it DFI, like the also maybe some frustrations, collect them here at the governance call, and discuss these kind of things to really improve like the process for everyone, I would say, if that makes sense.
I know this is a fresh topic and not many people got a chance to take a look at it. Maybe we can revisit this discussion next month. We will bring it on the agenda. Perhaps people can collect some more thoughts following the recording of this meeting who could not join the meeting. But yeah, we should think of more ways in order to make it more inclusive and open to people. We have just 1 minute left. I wonder if we want to catch up with anything in specific, in particular, in the next 1 minute. Or if not, then perhaps we can wrap it up right over here. The next meeting plan is on January 21st at 1600 UTC. We can continue discussing some of the points that were unfinished and not decided here. And yeah, we will also take a look at the new call for inputs.
Sounds good.
All right.
Thanks for organizing, Pooja.
Thanks a lot.
Thank you, everyone. Have good holidays, and we'll see you in New Year. Take care.
Yes.
Have a good one, guys.
You too. Bye bye.